Hello and welcome to the EduTalk series hosted by Biotone EduPartner Program, and massage industry experts. With the challenges that have faced massage schools, students, and practicing therapists during COVID, the EduTalk series hosted by Biotone continues to support virtual learning and building massage community by connecting you with industry experts who share their knowledge and expertise on topics not only for class discussion, but career success. Tonight's expert is Janet Wolf Blevins, who began her massage career in 1998 and for 6 years running won Best Massage Therapist in the TRIAD. She spends her time studying indigenous healing techniques and shamanism. She's a Reiki Master and holistic health practitioner and a nationally approved CE provider. Additionally, Janet is author of Acupressure for Bodyworkers and Herbalists, published in November 2021. And for a review of her book, please visit the EduTalk author series found on biotone.com under the EduTalk tab. Let's listen and learn as Janet introduces us to acupressure, an ancient healing modality of Chinese medicine. She'll discuss the 12 major meridians and the emotional aspects of each, identifying when they are out of balance. She'll demonstrate specific acupressure points for pain to improve client health and overall well-being, and share an easy way to learn and remember the flow of qi. Today, instead of a PowerPoint, you were emailed a handout worksheet that if you did not receive that to take notes during Janet's presentation, please send me a quick chat with your email and I'll get that over to you. Please be sure your sound is off and your video, or your sound is muted and your video is off. And during the presentation, feel free to chat questions and comments to Janet that she will answer at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much, Janet, for joining us tonight and presenting acupressure introduction, and I will turn it over to you. Thanks.
So thank you so much, Danielle. Thanks for co-hosting. And thanks for Biotone. Biotone, I was the first creams and lotion used in school. And then when I ran massage schools, that's what we used. So thank you very much, Biotone. I'm very grateful and thankful for being here today. So acupressure is really a broad subject, but it can seem daunting when it's something you're learning that's new. So I always say, let's just start small and then you can expand on it. So there's 12 major meridians, and all those meridians flow just like water, just like energy throughout the body. And on the little handout, an easy way to remember the meridians is they all start chest to hand, hand to face, face to foot, and then foot to chest, and then it'll repeat 2 more times so you get 12 meridians. So what I like about Chinese medicine is the emotional aspect of it, because all disease first starts with dis-ease on an emotional level. So with the 5 elements, they each have an emotional component to it, which when out of balance, if you're staying there too long or ignoring that emotion, becomes an illness in the body. Does it make sense? So the very first meridian that we're going to talk about is lung meridian. So when you're born, what do? You take a breath. That's the very first thing. Take that breath of life. Now, if you're born premature, because the lung is the last thing that develops in vitro, a lot of times preemies can develop asthma and allergies and stuff like that. So I'm going to write on my, I'm old fashioned. I don't have PowerPoint. I'm a dry erase person. So the very first meridian is lung, and its partner is large intestine. So one is yin and one is yang. And these are the metal element. So lung starts here at the chest and goes to the thumb. Remember I said chest to hand. And then large intestine's got to be close. So it'll be at the index finger. Lung ends here, large intestine's here, and it'll come up and end on the opposite nose. So they're bilateral. So this one will end over here. So these emotions for lung and large intestine when out of balance has to do with grief and letting go. You know, extreme sadness or hanging on to stuff, you know, not letting something under your skin and not willing to let go of something. And if we think about illnesses with that, you know, besides the grief, heavy grief can create asthma, allergy, bronchitis, pneumonia. And then, you know, not letting go could be constipation. And if this falls into an extreme level, people can become hoarders on an emotional level, you know, holding on to all those memories of something. I use my mom as an example sometimes because when she was divorced, she didn't let go. Instead of trying to find new love, she always hang on to that. So she ended up with a lot of large intestine problems that way. And if you think too about people who have that extreme grief, if you think about people who were married maybe 40, 50, 60 years, one dies, the next person a lot of times will die within a year of their partner's death of pneumonia. That's extreme grief. Same thing, I talk about, you know, Christopher Reeve, the original Superman. He had that accident, and when he was paralyzed from the neck down, his wife took such great care of him, loved him. After he died, she died of lung cancer. No history of cancer in the family, you know, no carcinogens. We're talking about extreme grief. And then all these also have a sound and a smell to them. So a lot of times if you're talking about your clients, you know, when they walk in the door and they're like, hey, how you doing? And they go, I'm good. Yeah, is everything okay? Yeah, I'm okay. But that sharp little intake of breath shows it's starting to be that lung, large intestine, meridian out of balance. And same thing with smells. Everything has a smell to it. So that's why you really shouldn't wear a lot of perfume and deodorant and stuff to cover up that, because if you start to smell something, you know you're starting to be out of balance, which then could create dis-ease, which creates disease. And, you know, that's why a lot of times dogs and cats can smell cancers and stuff. So weeping is the sound for lung and large intestine, that intake of air, you know, having just a little bit of sorrow. And then the smell to that is rotten. I know that sounds awful, but think of musky, rotten leaves in the fall, because this is actually a fall time with the metal element. And so if you're starting to have a little musky odor, you want to fortify your lung and large intestine. And I say lung is the easiest one to start to learn first because it has the smallest, almost the smallest number of points. It only has 11. So lung 1 and lung 2, you can see here on my Acuman right here, and here. Start up. These are really good for also not only lungs, but neck and shoulder pains. Think of your clients coming in, my neck and shoulder hurts, but look, they're shortening their pec muscles. And a lot of times it's that weight and anxiety bringing them down. So these are 2 good points to use. So 1 and 2. And if you go down the arm here, 3 and 4 are really close together by this tendon. And it's almost like you could have a spider bite, 2 fangs. They're 2 big divots. And my teacher always called these extreme grief points, because if you had a sudden loss of something, these really flare up and get tender. You work on a client or even yourself, you might be prone to tears, because think of a sudden loss. It could be the sudden loss of your favorite job. You know, you love this job. Or maybe your favorite TV show got canceled. Just something that you're holding on to if you're not quite in balance, and boom, it hits you. So 3 and 4 are really good points. And I'm not going to go over every single point in the body, because there's actually, they say, over 2,000 points. but on the 12 meridians, there's 300 points. But lung 5, especially in these times with COVID and right now allergies, right now oak trees are busting me hard. So lung 5, if you bend your arm right here at the crook where the line comes in, you'll feel a little divot. It's a really good one to take full expansion of the breath, just to breathe in. And this is also good if you're working with athletes, especially if they're just finished an event. I always used to, when I worked at the Summer Olympic place in San Diego, would grab this point, hey, come sit down. And just grab it and let them take a breath. Then we go further down. But all acupuncture points or acupressure points are natural divots in the body. So the traditional way, like when I went to school, our test was little dots, and we got a list of points, and you had to find the exact location where you would put, a needle. So a soon's width, you had to measure how many soons from a lateral border or whatever to find the point. But this is my soon for my body. You have a different size soon, so it's harder to find. But I always tell my students in class, if you fall into the divot, almost every single acupressure point is a natural divot in the body, which is a great way to find it. So you just kind of fall in the hole. And really what it is, you're only born with so much ancestral chi. You don't want to use it all up because then you die. That's why when you do qigong, you're gathering chi. Eat good food, gua chi, you're always replenishing your chi. So all these little points that open up are openings to gather heaven chi, universal chi to come in. But if these little caves are full of stuff, then by pushing the point, you're kind of clearing it out. And that helps the energy to flow, because everything in the body flows from one. So if we're starting at a well and we get the rhythm going up, so we go from a well to a spring to a stream to a river and to the sea, and then it flows into the next meridian. So that's how that works. So in the book I talk about, for herbalists too, all these divots and points you can put herbs on. So for lung meridian, if you're having trouble with your lungs, maybe you might want to put some mullein. You can put mullein leaf or mullein oil, or right in here, especially with that lung 5, if you want to break up some congestion and mucus, elecampane. And even for massage therapists, with your creams and lotions with different aromatherapy, or if you're using some Chinese liniment and stuff, you can put them exactly on those points. It's so weird not to see anybody. I feel like I'm teaching just to a little black pad up here. So I hope y'all are having fun. So large intestine would be next. So lung flows down to the thumb, and then large intestine starts here at the index finger and comes all the way up to number 20 over here. The one point I really want to talk about on large intestine is large intestine 4. And it usually has a misnomer about it. Most people say, squeeze in here in this little pad on this interosseous muscle, and that's really good for headaches. But you're getting close to it, but that's actually not the point, because that's a muscle right there. If you come into the crook right here where this metacarpal meets this other metacarpal, and you'll feel it, it's a little bit of a zinger. This is really good for headaches. It's also good for anything like maybe toothaches and eye pain, sinus pain, and that's a semi-master point to drain all that. Let me get a drink of water real quick. So that's lung and large intestine. So the next 2 meridians are stomach and spleen. And it was a really funny way that my teacher taught me. We drew the lines like this, easy way to remember which was yin and which was yang. So yang, this man can't stand next to the fence here and talk to another man's wife, but he can stand there and talk to another man. So that's an easy way to remember yin and yang, yin and yang, yin and yang, all the way down. Also, too, if we think about position, Western anatomical position is this, But Asian anatomical position is this. So in this upper jowl, we have all our 5 senses: taste, touch, hearing, smell, and we're receiving information. And then in the middle jowl, we're deciding what's good and what's not good. And the lower jowl, we're eliminating what we no longer need. So if we look at this, here's all our yin meridians. And back here is y'all our yang meridians. So stomach and spleen are earth element. And the emotions for that, and you'll find that a lot of women have this out of balance. So the earth element out of balance has to do with that worry, overthinking, also oversympathetic. I always tease the people in my class. Those are the people that are always watching the Hallmark movies. And, did you see that cute puppy? Just cry at anything. So just very oversympathetic. And also that worry, thinking, you know, got lots of writing down everything, got everything planned and organized. And when that's out of balance, it can create, you know, not only stomach ulcers, but with the spleen meridian. Spleen is the storehouse of the blood. It's a very important meridian. And if you think about like when people have car accidents and the seatbelt cut through there, and a lot of times the spleen is ruptured and they take it out, people will have trouble with their immune system and getting illnesses a lot because you got all your white blood cells. This is the storehouse of the blood where the spleen is. So when spleen can't hold on and it's become loose because of all this worry, overthinking, you'll notice on your clients, those little red cherry angioma moles that start popping up. You see that a lot on women, especially around the chest area, the décolleté, and also on the back. And that's that worry, overthinking. Also, too, because spleen controls and holds things, people will get scallop edges along their tongue. They might also bite their tongue, bite the inside of their cheek while they're eating. And these people, when it's out of balance, will have trouble sleeping, falling asleep, staying asleep. It's that monkey mind, constantly thinking when they go to bed. And so the voice for stomach and spleen, this earth element, is a sing-song voice. So it's kind of like low, and then it gets high pitch, and it's low, and it gets high pitch, and they get really excited about stuff, and it gets higher and higher. And the smell for this, when it's out of balance, is fragrant. It sounds nice, doesn't it? Like a lovely perfume, but it's really not. Think of a bunch of flowers that are in a vase, and they've gone bad, and that water's kind of got that funky smell, or maybe like a spoiled milk or ice cream. Is that really kind of off-putting smell. And you will notice these smells on your clients, especially usually down when you're massaging under their arms or closer to their feet, the odors will come more prominent. And stomach and spleen. So stomach, actually, because we went from lung down, large intestine up, so chest to hand, hand to face. So stomach starts right in the eye. It comes straight down the center of the body. And I say an easy way to remember, ST stomach, ST second toe. That's where it ends up at the second toe. And 2 points that are really good, because there are 45, we're not going to go over 45 points. But if we come down here to the knee, and it's on the lateral side, so if you, right under the kneecap, we call this calf's nose, where there's two big divots under there. This lateral one is stomach 35. And if you slide down just a little bit, that's stomach 36. These are 2 great points for if you've got an upset stomach, you ate some bad food, drank and partied too much the night before. These are all points that will help calm that down. And then it goes to the second toe. And then spleen has got to be close. Its partner's always got to be close. So it starts on the medial side of the big toe and comes up. And it only has 21 points. It comes up in the chest. But 2 great points to think about with spleen, because spleen controls the blood, is women who might have painful periods, or just a lot of cramping, or maybe having trouble starting. So I would look at spleen 6 and spleen 10. And spleen 6 is if you come up the inside of the leg here. Can you see it better here? right through there. It's right in there. And then right above the knee, there's a divot over here, and that's spleen 10. And I know you probably can't see too good on Fred over here, but you can Google the points and find out. You'll get a map. Like TCM Student has a great chart and stuff. But those are 2 points that help regulate the chi of that. And then I say spleen 10 usually gets the most laughs in class because it is the sea of blood. Remember, I talked about the well, the spring, the stream, the sea, and the river. The sea of blood is the most powerful point, and it's really good for postpartum depression. It's really good to help get rid of afterbirth. And because you need blood to engage in coitus, it's one of the acupressure points for lovers because you need a lot of blood to get things pumped up and going. So that's usually a favorite point for everybody. So then we're back up to chest. Okay, so then we'll go that way a couple of times. So we had lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen. Then we have heart and small intestine. And then we have yin and yang. And these are fire. And we actually have 2 more fire meridians. Everything else has 2, but fire has 4. And heart and small intestine are fire. And when that's out of balance, it's joy and depression. So a lot of times it gets labeled as bipolar, but it's so much more than that. So a lot of times Western medicines will give you medications to stop the symptoms when there could be more of an underlying cause to things. So that fire is, like transmuting, it builds, it creates. So these fire people are very creative. Here you got a lot of artists, a lot of people who make things, creative people. And a lot of times when that fire gets burning, and there's no more wood to feed it, crash. So that's where we get the depression. So the thing is about leveling these off. So fire meridian people, when it's out of balance, have a laughter to their voice. And I'm sure you know somebody like this. These are people who were in they're just talking and they just can't stop laughing. They tell, it's not even a joke, it's just how they talk. Everything has a little giggle to it. And the smell to that when it's out of balance is actually scorched. It's just like, not that anybody irons anymore, but if you've ever ironed a shirt and you just got it a little bit too hot, it's that burnt smell. Or even like the smell when you burn out a candle. It's got a little bit of smell to it. So heart starts under here and goes to the little finger. So its partner's close. So small intestine is just on the opposite side of the little finger, and it comes up. And small intestine, there's a really good point that comes up here. It's small intestine 19. It's right in what they call right before the tragus. A lot of people get this piercing here, but there's a divot right here where your jaw opens. This is an excellent point for vertigo. Very good for vertigo. And I had a teacher who said, and you don't want to do these on strangers and stuff, but biting on this tingwell point between the heart and small intestine is like a natural defibrillator. It'll buy you a little time, after you've called the ambulance if you feel like you're having a heart attack. All right. So then we have bladder and kidney. And then we have yang and yin. And this is water. So that should be a no-brainer that this is the water element. And water, when it's out of balance, creates fear. And it could be fear of like, maybe you don't want to change jobs, but you need to, or you need to move, but you're comfortable where you are. But it's also when we think about that end stage of life, because when people have kidney failure and stuff, there's usually not long before they die. And the sound to this is groaning. So it's like, So I've had a couple of clients, how you feeling today? Oh, my back hurts. Or you think about people in a rest home, if you've ever been and you hear all the groaning in the hallway. So that's that water element that's creating that excess fear in the body. And then the smell to that is actually putrid. So we're thinking incontinence, with the smell of urine, or also on the beach, you know, if you have like dead fish and some seaweed come up, it's kind of that smell that's a little upsetting to the stomach. And bladder meridian, if we think about fear, it is the longest meridian in the body. It has 67 points. So we're back up here because we had heart coming down, small intestine coming up. So bladder actually starts right here at the corner of the eye where you cry. And it comes up and around the back. It divides 4 lines down the back. And then in the back of the leg behind the knee, it comes back to 1 line. Easy way to remember it, bladder meridian goes to the wee toe. So the little toe. But you think about all those lines on the back. I'll turn him around here. 4 sets of lines, 67 points. That's a lot that can affect back pain. So a lot of back pain will come from bladder meridian. And there's some really good points that I like to teach in class for that. Is bladder 36 is right on the hamstring attachment, right where the ischium is, goes right underneath. Excellent point for low back pain. It's really amazing. And you don't have to hold it very long. It's just a little push. Sometimes I'll stretch the leg a little bit. And then tell all my students in class, if you don't remember any point, remember bladder 56, 57 down here. This is your money maker because, you know, plantar fasciitis, you know, that hurts at the foot, that's the symptom. So a lot of people will have a lot of pain, maybe get shots there, but it's actually up underneath this calcaneal tendon that comes up. So if you press those points right in the calf where the gastroc and the soleus is, and then just stretch the foot, it's amazing relief that is. And I see time is flying. So let me go over some other meridians. So we have lung, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney. Then we have pericardium and sanjiao. And this is your other fire one. So here's yin, here's yang, and fire. And a lot of people didn't know, you know, sanjiao is a foreign word. So you may hear it called triple warmer, triple heater, or triple burner. But really the sanjiao, when I said earlier, remember, upper jiao, receiving information, lower jiao, eliminating, middle jiao, deciding what you need and don't need. So sanjiao keeps those 3 things in working order throughout the body. And it's the same, it's this fire. Also, what I find interesting is in the hand, you have 6 meridians, okay? You have lung, large intestine, middle, and then you have 4 fire meridians. I always kid my students, pericardium 9, there's only 9 pericardium points and it ends right here. So we got pericardium, we have sanjiao, we have heart and small intestine. So when you're meditating, you're letting your ego go. Fire is a lot of times about ego and that creativity and stuff. And then we have gallbladder and liver. I want to make sure I cover all the 12 real quick. And this is wood. And the sound for wood when it's out of balance is anger and it's shouting. These are people that want to be heard. And the smell to that is rancid because you think about oil going bad. So all these things have a time frame too. So lung is 1 to 3 a.m. So if you're always waking up between 1 and 3 a.m., what are you grieving and not letting go of? And then large intestine is 3 to 5 a.m. And then stomach is 5 a.m. to 7. Spleen is 7 to 9. Heart is 9 to 11. Small intestine is 11 to 1 p.m. And we have bladder is 1 to 3 p.m. And kidney is 3 to 5. And then we have 5 to 7 for pericardium. Sanjiao is 7 to 9. 9 to 11. And then 11 to 1 a.m. So because this liver is at this end time, this is when it's weakest because that's when it's just starting off. It's just starting off at that whale, that energy is just slowly coming up. So that's the time when there's a lot of bar fights and stuff. People drink too much and stuff. So that's that weak time. Same thing with lung, 1 to 3, you're waking up. That's the weak time. That's when it's starting. All right. Gosh, there's so much I wanted to say. So also, I wanted to say one more thing about gallbladder. Gallbladder starts at the corner of the eye, right here. And if you look, it zigzags around, comes up, comes back down. The occiput is 20 points. There's 20 points right there before it goes into gallbladder 21, which is master point. So 20 points, we're talking about anger. Women in the South have a lot of migraines because what? Bless her heart. They don't want to get mad. They're told, don't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So that's where a lot of migraines come, is backed up gallbladder meridian. And then gallbladder 21, a lot of people push that, but that's a master point. Make sure your clients aren't pregnant when you push that point, because it can induce labor, but it's great for toothache, sinus pain, headache, eye pain, anything up here, neck and shoulder pain. Goes all the way down, gallbladder goes to the 4th toe. So I've gone over, I wanted to leave a little time for questions. I hope y'all didn't mind it. A lot of stuff, but I did want to make a shout out. I did do this book. All my students have kept asking me to do a book, so I'm very happy that I got to do this. And it's got everything in here. It's got some great old charts, and it's got some new point charts. And remember, all these points you can push, or you can put a stone on. All these crystals have magical powers on there, and the same thing with herbs. So thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Well, this has just been fascinating, turbocharged, fascinating. I mean, so much information to share, and you did a great job in the limited time we had. I'd love to invite our audience to submit questions via chat or comments. I did have one chat comment from Jennifer, and if I'm pronouncing it right, it's Fem Wa Wu. Fire, earth, metal, water, wood is how one of her mentors taught her years ago to remember that. So I guess it's for a trick for remembering fire, earth, metal, water, wood. Fem Wa Wu, double O. And a lot of comments saying this was a great talk, a very good talk, but I don't know if people have any questions yet. Very insightful. So this is wonderful. Again, would you do me a favor? Would you hold up your book and open to one of the pages with diagrams in it, so folks can see how you're displaying this and or presenting this, and also just flip to another page so they can get another idea.
Yeah, and the book is available on Amazon or Barnes and Noble online.
That's great. So wonderful to be able to see that and share that, and a nice companion for your presentation tonight. Now, what is that?
This is the wrist,
the foot,
the pulses, because, you know, mostly we take the radial pulse in Western medicine, but we have the 3 pulses, which has to do with the same 3 jowls. You have the upper jowl, the middle jowl, and the lower jowl. So each one goes to an organ. So each pulse connects to an organ. So you have 3 on each wrist.
And will you hold up the book title again? Acupressure for Body Workers and Herbalists.
Yes.
Now, I remember looking at the book, and you did the tongue.
Yes.
You had a little bit on the tongue, which I was really curious about. So we have a few minutes, if you just want to cover that, how that plays a part.
So it's the same thing. Your tongue is a reflection, and it's not as quick to change as your pulse is, but the tongue is a reflection of what's going on in your body. So the tip of your tongue is the upper jowl, the receiving information. So a lot of times if the tip of the tongue is like really pointy and red, you see all the little papillae on the tongue, it indicates heart shin stuff. So it has to do with insomnia. And then the middle of the tongue especially where you get those scalp edges, if you have a spleen imbalance, because, weak energy. And we'll have like different coatings if you've got something going on with your stomach. And the back of your tongue is the lower jiao, which deals with your large intestines and stuff. So the condition of your tongue, the color, if it's peeled or it's got a little fur on it, is really an indication of your personal health.
All right. Abigail is asking, what were the main points for spleen again?
Spleen 6 and spleen 10. And it's on the inside, because spleen starts on the medial side of the big toe. So coming up the leg, about 3 fingers up from the ankle is spleen 6. And then spleen 10 is just above the knee. But you can look at like TCM student, just Google one of those, and it'll be like a pop-up if you want to see it right away, because it's kind of hard to see from here if I'm pointing.
Okay, and Kim has shared with everyone a link to Barnes & Noble regarding your book.
Thanks, Kim.
And very nice. Let's see what else I might be missing. Thank you, everyone. Bad internet connection. I know I had my challenges. So she's looking forward to the recording. Okay, what is the emotion for the pericardium?
Pericardium and Sanjiao, along with heart and small intestine, are fire meridians. So the emotion is that joy and depression when it's out of balance. I actually call those squirrel people, because they're so creative and they're like, oh, I gotta get this nut, or oh, I want to take a knitting class. Oh, wait, I need to learn to paint. Oh, I really want to take that Spanish class. And it's when they're out of balance, it's like too much. They can't make up their mind. So they've got probably 50 million projects started, nothing finished. And a lot of times they're really bad about buying stuff. So they might have, oh, I need this camera. Oh, this new camera came out. Oh, I got the iPhone 12. Oh, I need the 13. Boom, 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 boom. Squirrel people.
That's cute. Let's see. Tamara, did I miss the physical application of acupressure? Whoops, that just disappeared. Like how much time to hold? How much time?
I didn't say, but really it doesn't take much at all, because once you touch the divot, touch the point, you're activating it. If you want to go into more energetically about it, if someone's really clogged, if you do lefty loosey with this little circle, you're pulling out the bad energy, and then push it again, righty tighty, putting in good chi or good energy.
So different circular motions.
Yes.
At the same, okay. Then Paula is asking, do you balance just by pressing or holding?
Either one. And a lot of times, if you work with your intuition, you can feel if someone needs to be held with the point, or they need a little bit extra nudge, especially somebody who's might be stuck in the mud. Earth elements get stuck a lot of times. In Ayurvedic, it's kapha, because it's like earth and water. So a lot of times they get stuck, if we get in that dampness, and you got to push. So I actually do more pushing and rocking if I got somebody with a spleen imbalance.
Okay. And Jennifer is asking, what was the point useful for vertigo?
Oh, small intestine 19. It's right in front of the little, what I call the tragus. If you get that pierced, and oh wait, I got an ear. Hold on.
We're following you.
Oh, that's too funny. So right here, right where your jaw opens up, if you do that, you fall into a divot, and you just press on that. It's excellent for vertigo. And a lot of times vertigo, because we think of it as the small intestine meridian, has to do with the small intestine. It's absorbing stuff. And a lot of times it could be a little food allergy that's causing the small intestine to be off, which can create the vertigo. Also, because small intestine is deciding what's good and not good for us, if it's out of balance, that's where you make poor decisions. I tell my students, like, oh, I just met these 2 guys in a van full of people. They asked me to go to the beach. I'll go. I don't know them. That would be a poor decision, because a lot of times small intestine meridian is off because you're not making good decisions. I'll eat potato chips every day. I heard it's a new weight loss. That would be small intestine meridian off.
Let's see. Paula is asking, where is Janet, or where do you teach?
I teach pretty much all over the South. Whoever, wants to host me, I'm happy to travel. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have a website, sagedragonflyworkshops.com. And I always say, have Jeep, will travel. So I like going to different places, and like a spa will have me, and I'll train all their employees at once. So I just went to Massage NB in Raleigh. They're the first ones that are going to allow cupping. So I just got to teach all their employees cupping. So that was really a great honor.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. And in tomorrow's follow-up email, along with the recording link to your presentation tonight, there'll also be your website address included. And I'm including a link to your EduTalk author series book review, so people can get a little more insight into acupressure for body workers and herbalists. Yes. And I don't see any more questions that have come in. All I can say is thank you. This was wonderful information. Really enjoyed you as a presenter. And thank you everyone for your interest and participating with EduTalks. Join us again in June on the 7th. We have Ruth Werner with massage and long COVID. Can they go together? Then on June 21st, we have Dr. Ben Benjamin, the low back assessment and treatment, the most common cause of pain. So it's a wonderful launch into the summer, Janet. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm down the road in July already, and we've got great EduTalk. So join us again, everyone. Thank you so much. And watch your inbox tomorrow for the follow-up. Take care. Be safe. Thanks.